You were never meant to strive and struggle like a leaf caught in the wind. You were meant to imagine, to see with the eyes of faith, to feel with the certainty of knowing, to rest in the end while the middle plays itself out. That is the key. That is how I won. And if I won, you can too, because you are made of the same divine essence that I am. Imagination is not fantasy. It is not daydreaming. It is creation. It is law. Whatever you imagine and believe to be true, without doubt, without contradiction, must come to pass. It is not optional. There is no power on earth that can stop the manifestation of a fully assumed state of consciousness. Not one. I taught myself not to react to appearances. I trained myself to ignore the facts that argued against my desire. I chose instead to dwell in the unseen, to clothe myself in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and in time, without effort, the world changed. The people, the events, the very atmosphere rearranged themselves to echo the inner image I sustained. You must not wait for proof. You must not hope, wish, or beg. You must assume, boldly, confidently, and persist in that assumption until it hardens into fact. This is not a technique. It is a law. Live as though your desire is already yours and the world must mirror your belief. When I walked into rooms, I did not walk as someone hoping for success. I entered as the one who already had it. I saw the handshake. I heard the congratulations. I felt the joy of accomplishment. And in time, those moments that once lived only in imagination became as real and tangible as the ground beneath my feet. Everything responds to your inner conversation. Every word you repeat to yourself is a seed, and seeds do not discriminate. They grow what you plant. If you tell yourself you're lucky, the world agrees. If you tell yourself you're chosen, doors open. If you dwell in lack, you'll see lack. But if you live inwardly in abundance, nothing can keep it from appearing. Name your peace. You are not here to learn how to attract things. You are here to remember that you already have them. The only thing that separates you from your desire is the assumption that you don't yet have it. That one idea, I don't have it, is the only wall between you and your dream. Tear it down. Replace it with I am, I have, it is done, and stand firm. I did not win because I was favored. I won because I believed I was. I imagined I was. I persisted in that knowing until it eclipsed everything else, and the world obeyed. This is not magic. This is not trickery. This is truth. You will always receive what you accept inwardly as true. Always. So, choose your truths wisely. Feel your future before it arrives. Touch the invisible with faith. Speak inwardly the reality you choose to live. Do it with boldness, with joy, with thanksgiving. As the moment you feel it is done, it is done. Now go and do the same. I didn't stumble upon success. I didn't trip into abundance. I didn't luck into victory. I claimed it, deliberately, inwardly, with unwavering conviction. I took the invisible, made it visible within me, and let the world conform. That is how I won it all, and I will show you how to do the same. You must first understand everything begins with a state of consciousness. Everything. The money you desire, the love you long for, the health you crave, the peace you seek, it all starts with an inner assumption. You cannot receive on the outside what you have not already accepted within. That's the secret most people miss. They wait, they hope, they beg for signs. But the creative act begins when you turn within and assume the end. If you wish to win, stop trying to win. Assume you have already won. See it in your mind's eye, not once, but repeatedly, faithfully, persistently, until your inner world is saturated with it, until the outer world has no choice but to yield. This is how the law works. It has never failed me, and it will never fail you. You cannot hold one image in your mind and live another. You cannot dwell in poverty mentally and receive wealth physically. You cannot feel unworthy and experience worth. The outer always follows the inner. So choose now the state you wish to dwell in. Choose it like you'd choose a home to live in. Occupy it. Live in it. Furnish it with emotion. Let it become familiar, so familiar that it feels like your natural state. When I wanted more, I didn't chase it, I became it. I didn't wait for others to see my worth, I saw it within myself. I didn't beg the world to reward me, I inwardly assumed I was already rewarded. And soon enough, the world agreed. People began to treat me the way I treated myself inwardly. Circumstances molded themselves around my inner image. And results followed naturally, not through striving, but through assuming. Let me tell you this clearly. What you feel to be true is more powerful than what you see. The senses are shadows. They reflect what was once believed inwardly. If you want to change your world, you must stop reacting to what is and start imagining what will be. Speak to yourself in the language of the fulfilled. Feel the tone of certainty. And refuse to let go of your vision, even if the world mocks it, even if nothing seems to change. Persistence is the secret. Not force, not effort, but the gentle, unwavering return to your vision every time doubt or fear arises. When you imagine the outcome you desire, you must feel it with all the vividness of life. See it, hear it, touch it, taste it. Let it become so real to you that it overshadows everything else. Let the illusion of lack fade in the light of your conviction. I've stood in rooms where nothing looked like success, but I held the image of success so strongly within me that the entire environment transformed. People shifted. Opportunities emerged. Circumstances aligned. Not because I manipulated them, but because I imagined a new world and stayed loyal to it. You must become loyal to your unseen reality. That's the true faith. Not hoping that something will happen, but knowing it already has, even before the evidence appears. You must move in consciousness first. You must feel the joy now. Celebrate now. Walk now as though it is already done. You want wealth? Then stop thinking poor. Stop identifying with lack. Speak only of abundance. Feel yourself as one who has more than enough. Imagine the bank account. Imagine the freedom. Imagine the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you feel. Do it so clearly that your subconscious accepts it as reality. You want love? Then love yourself inwardly. Imagine the embrace, the companionship, the laughter. Feel it deeply as if you are already experiencing it. Speak to yourself with kindness, worthiness, and certainty, and the person who matches that state will appear. Not by force, but by law. The world is not happening to you, it is responding to you, and you are not a victim, you are the creator. Your assumptions determine your experience. Your feelings are the fuel. Your persistence is the key. Most people wait for evidence to feel, but that is not the way. The feeling creates the evidence. That is why I won. I didn't wait. I didn't say, one day. I said, now. I lived in the end. I claimed it before it appeared, and the world followed. You must remember this. Your imagination is not fiction. It is fact in seed form. If you water it with belief, nourish it with emotion, and protect it from doubt, it will grow. Do not underestimate the power you hold. You are more powerful than any condition, any person, any circumstance. The world outside is clay. Your consciousness is the sculptor. There was a time when nothing looked like it was working. I had a vision, but no proof. I had a desire, but no support. And yet I refused to let go. I spoke the end result inwardly. I walked with the confidence of one who already had it. I thanked the universe before it delivered. I felt the joy before it was justified. And slowly, then suddenly, the invisible became visible. You must do the same. Choose the state you desire and occupy it completely. Don't try. Don't wish. Assume. Live as though it is already so. Let your inner talk match your future. Let your feelings stay loyal to the end. And watch the transformation unfold, first subtly, then overwhelmingly. What is it that you desire? Health, wealth, recognition, peace, love? Then stop focusing on the absence of it. That is the trap. The moment you focus on not having, you reinforce the lack. You must train yourself to focus only on the presence. You must learn to ignore the senses when they contradict your vision. The senses are slow to catch up, but they always do. I trained myself to feel rich when my pockets were empty. I felt loved when I was alone. I felt success when I was overlooked. I refused to live by appearances. I lived by inner truth, and the world bowed. You may ask, is it really that simple? Yes, it is, but it is not always easy. The discipline of imagination is the greatest work you will ever do. It requires attention, intention, repetition. It requires you to become more interested in the unseen than the seen. But once you make that shift, once you live from the end rather than toward it, everything changes. The people you need will appear. The doors you seek will open. The money, the opportunities, the experiences, they will come rushing in because you finally stopped waiting and started being. This is not delusion. This is alignment. You are aligning yourself with the version of reality you wish to experience. And once aligned, nothing can keep it from manifesting. You don't need to know how. The how is not your job. Your job is to assume the end, to feel it real, to live from the feeling that it is already yours. And the bridge of incidents will unfold, often in ways you could never plan. There were times when I thought I needed to act, to push, to fix. But every time I returned to stillness and saw the end in imagination, the answers came. The path cleared. The solutions arrived. Because I was no longer resisting, I was allowing. That is how I won. And now you will too. Because it isn't laugh, it's love, and the law will never fail. The one who imagines faithfully, feels fully, and walks boldly. Stay in the end. Rest in the knowing. Assume your victory. And let the world deliver what you have already claimed within. When I began to understand that imagination was not idle, that it was not play, but the very workshop of reality, I started to treat it with reverence. I no longer used it carelessly. I stopped entertaining scenarios of fear, lack, or doubt. I refused to dwell on problems because I knew that what I gave my inner attention to would grow in my outer world. I took full responsibility for my inner conversations because I knew they were not harmless, they were creative. They were the script, and the world was simply following direction. I saw people waiting for permission, waiting for signs, waiting for proof. But I tell you, the sign comes after the feeling, not before. It is you who sets the tone. It is you who begins the movement. If you wait to feel successful until the world declares you are, you will wait forever. But if you feel it first, if you dwell in the joy of the fulfilled desire, the world will echo that joy with evidence. Every night, before I slept, I rehearsed the life I had chosen. I imagined myself where I wanted to be. I walked through scenes in my mind that implied my desire had already been fulfilled. I saw the outcomes I longed for, not as distant dreams, but as present reality. I brought the future into the now, and the now began to shift to match it. When you do this sincerely, something changes in you. You no longer seek. You no longer chase. You no longer beg. You simply assume the identity of the one who already has. And once that identity becomes your dominant vibration, your life must reorganize around it. The world has no power to deny the one who persists in a state of knowing. Do not be fooled by appearances. The world of the senses is always late. It shows you what you were thinking, feeling, believing yesterday. If you don't like what you see, don't panic. Just change your inner state. Shift your assumption. Plant a new seed and water it daily with feeling. The feelings are the secret. They are the root of all manifestation. If you desire something but feel unworthy of it, your outer world will reject it on your behalf. But if you feel deserving, if you feel that it is already yours, then the world must rearrange to deliver it. I practiced this day and night. I practiced in silence. I practiced in the crowd. I practiced when I was alone and when I was surrounded by noise. I watched my thoughts with care. I listened to my inner voice. And whenever I caught myself imagining something unlovely, I stopped and replaced it. I refused to allow my imagination to be used against me. You must become ruthless with your inner world. You must protect your assumptions like treasures. You must value your visions more than your fears, because your assumptions are not just private fantasies. They are seeds of destiny. Some will say this is too simple, but the truth is always simple. It is the mind that complicates. The truth is this: assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and persist in that feeling until the world reflects it. Nothing more is needed. When you feel the state of wealth, you will begin to behave differently. You'll walk differently. You'll speak differently. You'll expect differently. And this difference will trigger a chain reaction in your environment. People will respond to your new vibration. Opportunities will rise to meet your expectation. Events will unfold that support your state. But do not fall back into the habit of watching the world for signs. You are not a servant of conditions. You are the cause. Walk boldly in your imagination. Trust it more than the facts, because facts change. Circumstances bend. The world is clay in the hands of your inner state. You will be tempted to question it. You will face moments when doubt whispers and fear tries to take root. But in those moments, return to the feeling. Close your eyes and see the end. Feel the joy. Feel the peace. Feel the satisfaction. Let that be your anchor. It is not enough to think positively once. It is not enough to visualize now and then. You must live in the state of the desired outcome. You must breathe it, eat with it, sleep with it. Let it saturate your being until you can no longer distinguish between imagination and reality, because they are one. I remember vividly the moment things changed for me. It wasn't when the outer world shifted. It was when I no longer needed it to. I was so filled with the feeling of already having it that nothing external could disturb me. That was the moment of power. That was the moment of creation. And soon after, the outer evidence began to arrive. You will know you're on the right track when you stop caring about how and when. You'll feel it so deeply within that the outer confirmation becomes secondary. You'll move through the world with quiet confidence, not because of what is, but because of what you have accepted inwardly as true. The world cannot help but respond to the one who no longer doubts. That kind of inner certainty is magnetic. It attracts, it draws, it compels circumstances to obey. Everything is drawn to you by your state. Your job is not to fix the world, but to fix your assumption. You are not here to struggle or fight with conditions. You are here to transform your state of consciousness, and the world will follow without resistance. I have seen people transform their lives in days, not because they worked harder, but because they believed differently. They imagined a new life, felt it deeply, and rested in that knowing. And reality, faithful servant that it is, followed their command. There is no limit to what you can create. There is no ceiling, no barrier, no gatekeeper. Only the image you hold of yourself. And that image is malleable. You can remake it at any moment. You can revise your past. You can script your future. You can live right now as the one you wish to be. That is how I won. I didn't change the world. I changed me. And the world followed. I teach you not to hope for luck, but to know your power. I teach you not to wait for signs, but to create them. I teach you to move inwardly first, because the outer is only the shadow of the inner. If you want to be wealthy, be it inwardly. If you want to be free, feel it now. And if you want to be loved, love yourself into the state of being loved. The world cannot help but reflect your assumption. All this is within your control. Right now, in this very moment, you can begin. You don't need permission, you don't need time, you only need to assume. Directly, so assume. Not lightly, not passively, but with fire, with faith, with boldness. Make your inner world the only reality that matters, and soon the outer world will have no choice but to align. This is the great secret. This is the ancient truth. This is the law that governs all things, and it is yours. So I tell you now, you don't need luck. You need vision. You don't need chance. You need choice. You don't need the world's permission. You need your own decision. Everything you seek is already within you, waiting for recognition. The moment you dare to assume the feeling of your desire fulfilled, the moment you claim it boldly and walk in it faithfully, that is the moment you begin to rule your world. You were not born to chase, you were born to create. Not through force, but through faith, not through effort, but through alignment. It is not the outer world you must conquer, it is the inner state you must occupy. And once you dwell in the right state, the outer must bow. It must align, it must reflect. Because the law is unbreakable, the world will always mirror what you are conscious of being. So assume the highest, feel the greatest, claim the impossible, and persist until your world sings the song you first heard in silence. That is how you win. That is how you always win.